For those of you watching, my name is Marc Belaiche. I'm president of the Canadian Music Expo. Really happy to be part of this panel. I'll moderate it for the next half hour, maybe a little bit longer if time permits, and if there's more topics and depending on questions. If anybody has questions, you're welcome to post them in the chat button here as well on the chat on the right-hand side, and I will be moderating them as well. So thanks very much for watching. This is the last event for 2020, the holiday edition of the Canadian Music Expo. So let's go around. I'll introduce each person and just talk a little bit of what you're doing and what's been going on in your world this year in 2020. So Suzi, Kory, first off, musician and founder of the Love Revolution Music Festival. So Suzi, why don't you talk a little bit about what you do and your year of 2020, the way it came out?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Suzi Kory, a country rock artist from Toronto. Thanks to COVID, I not only, was able to still release music and do something with that, but also founded the Love Revolution Drive-In Country Music Festival. And it's funny how that just kind of fell into place because of all of this. You know, I'd read about the concept of drive-in festivals and really jumped on it as soon as I heard about it and thought we need to do live music again somehow, some way. It was incredibly successful. We had an amazing time, both the artists, people who came out to it. So for me, that was probably the highlight of the year. It was amazing. So great year overall.
As we go around, I'll come back to you and we'll talk more about the Love Revolution tour because that was really cool. Great concept. So Demetrius Nath is president of Mississauga Music and member of the band Maybe May. Demetrius, you've got more notches in your belt too, and we'll talk about that. But how about your year in review in 2020?
Well, I do a few things. First one is I run a music marketing and radio promotions company called Anti-Skeptic Entertainment, and radio didn't go away during 2020. It's if anything, people were listening to radio more so. So that went really well because artists are, at home and releasing new music. So we got a lot of them on radio. And then I do, as you mentioned, I run Mississauga Music as well, which is a not-for-profit platform with Mississauga Music Week and awards focused on Mississauga artists and run in Mississauga. So that obviously didn't really work out as planned, but we moved a bunch of things online, and I think we adapted fairly well. We could do better. So we'll see what happens in 2021 and how fast people get vaccinated, I guess. And then, Maybe May is my music project. And like most artists, we couldn't really do much other than record and release the music. And we did a lot of collaborations, and we saw our online numbers become better than any other year this year. So we were very encouraged for that.
Terrific, and we'll come back and talk about the Mississauga Music Awards too, because that's to turn those into a virtual event as well. So we'll go through that. Mauve is a singer-songwriter. Also, Mauve, great music. Why don't you talk a little bit about your year and a little bit about yourself and the kind of music and so on to share?
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Mauve, and I'm an electro-pop singer-songwriter from the Toronto area. And this year, I've still been releasing songs and wanting to write more music. So thankfully, there's other ways to be creative during this year and still producing content. And earlier this year, actually, I performed at the Music Expo back in January before everything went wild. So it was nice. I think that was my only live performance, actual with the band set up. So that was a really great memory to have, and have just been doing the virtual concerts this year, but still finding ways to grow the fan base, thinking creatively. So it's really nice to be joining.
Thanks, Mauve. And thanks, Yes, for being at the live Music Expo. Hopefully we'll have many more live, but it is what it is. Kory Poole is Music Development Coordinator at the City of Mississauga. So Kory, what's been going on at the City of Mississauga and the music world in 2020?
Yeah, it's been surprisingly, pretty busy year on top of all the things we were planning to do live-wise, such as our summer concert series and the other initiatives that we're working on, that we tried to, as best as we could, pivot those initiatives. There were a number of other things that came up because of COVID, and so it's been sort of busy as ever. Trying to keep things going and support the music community as best we can during these times. As you mentioned, my music development coordinator here. So the music office in Mississauga has been open for about a year now, since July of 2019. And in that time, we've been working mainly on a music strategy. It'll be Mississauga's first music strategy. So it's a sector development strategy, looking at ways that we can help support and grow the sector through policy changes, removal of barriers that might be impeding the growth of the music sector, and other initiatives to promote our artists, promote our sector, and do whatever we can to try to grow that sector.
Terrific. Well, thanks for being here. And Sarah Hagerman, Industry and Events Manager at Unison Benevolent Fund. Sarah, I talked about Unison earlier on in the program when I was doing my introductory remarks. Obviously, this has been a challenging year for musicians, music, but maybe talk about Unison a little bit more if somebody doesn't know, and also perhaps what has been going on this year in 2020 at Unison.
Yeah, so I really appreciate having me on here and just talking about Unison and helping to spread the word, because if anyone doesn't know what Unison is, it's a very, very important tool that's been a safety net for the music community since about 2015 when our services were launched, but especially during 2020 now that there's a crisis of COVID-19 leaving people out of work. So Unison's like basically an assistance program for music makers and professionals, where we provide financial assistance, emergency financial assistance programs, and counseling and health solutions. So music makers and professionals can access mental health counseling, legal advice through a hotline, family services. Your immediate family member could access counseling as well. So definitely go on the website at unisonfunds.ca and take a look at the services and what there is to offer, because as I'm sure everyone can imagine, it's been a very busy year. There's been a huge increase in our organization capacity and people asking for help, and just knowing what Unison is and even helping to spread the word too is really, really helpful. So I'm very excited to be here and talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, so Unison is really a great tool. So I encourage everyone to just check it out. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely warranted. So we'll come back and talk a little bit more in depth. So Suzi, we'll go around. I have some questions for each of you, and then we'll open it up to just discussion. But Suzi, let's talk about the Love Revolution tour, because I was able to see the one that you did in Ontario, Canada, and then you did one in Nashville as well after that. So talk a little bit about how it came about, why you came up with the idea, and other suggestions, comments. Maybe somebody's thinking about doing something like that in 2021.
Well, I was mentioning before we got live on air that I was working for an airline, and I guess I want to say, thankfully, I ended up losing that job and became a full-time musician this year. And it's really because of that, then I became more focused on, okay, what is it that I need to be doing? And it just so happened at the same time, of course, people were losing their jobs, their day jobs. And I became a full-time musician at a time when you really couldn't perform live anymore. And I thought, no, there has to be a way that we can still make this happen. And the people that I know, the other country artists, everybody was just itching to get back on a stage. And as soon as I read about this concept of the drive-in festivals, I think the first story that I read was something like this. And I thought, oh my God, that's fantastic. Of course we can try and do that. And literally, the story that from like start to finish within 3 weeks, we put this festival together. And I have so many people to thank for that. Yes, I was the brainchild of having the idea, but I couldn't have no way put it together had I not reached out to the right people who were so willing to come on board, from volunteers who helped out, people who donated the stage, we had the sound system, the artists who got involved. And it was just all over, just a great feeling for everybody. Like I said, who showed up. It was a scorching hot day that day. And not one person complained. They were like, this is the best thing ever. We get to see live music again. And same thing, the musicians were just so happy. And then I had this idea, well, you know, we did one here in Canada, let's do it in the States. And I had some friends down in Tennessee. And yeah, it just, again, you know, came together within about a month and a half, and we were able to do another one there. And now my next sights are set on Australia. So I'm in talks with some people there, and, you know, fingers crossed, hopefully we can do something there.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So are you planning on doing 3 then in 2021, like Ontario, Nashville, and then Australia possibly, or more? Or
well, I mean, my idea for this when it first came to life, you know, Love Revolution was a song that I put out, and the festival came about because I wanted to show people what Love Revolution is about. What am I talking about in the song? It's not just, you know, here's a single and here's a video to go with the single. I wanted something more in depth to really show people what is it all about. And the festival was a no-brainer, you know, to show people what Love Revolution is. And now I have in my mind that this Love Revolution, we've got to take it worldwide. So I have, you know, my dream is to hit every continent. So, you know, we did North America, let's do Australia, Europe, Brazil, you know, South America. So I have some plans, and, you know, if it's meant to be, it'll all work out. But so far, one thing has led to another, and I go with my instinct. Whatever is falling into place, just go with it. So that's the big plan.
well, you've got one country or one continent and 2 countries already under your belt. So it was great. It was a lot of fun. And I love the way you pulled a whole bunch of musicians at the end, and you were all on stage together. That was fantastic. Very well done in 3 weeks. That, you know, we take months to plan our events, and you did a great job in 3 weeks. I was amazed. Terrific. Well, that's great. And, you know, do you have a website also, Suzi, for the Love Revolution Tour? Is that live yet or for next event?
Well, I have a website, and you've got, you know, my music there, bio, and plus highlights. I did highlight reels from both festivals, so you can go in and watch those and see, you know, the feel of it, who performed there, and so on. So if you go to www.suzikory.com, that's SUZIKORY.com. And Marc, I just want to add something really quickly, because I know everybody needs a chance to talk. This is really important to kind of mention. I think the biggest learning point out of all of this thing with the Love Revolution Festival was the fact that for myself as an artist, you know, because I'm an artist myself, the first time I'm coming together with fellow artists, and we're all independents, and I made sure, you know, I know people who are in the industry that have record deals and whatever, but it was more important to keep it just independent artists. We realized what we're capable of doing as just independent artists, you know, that as if we come together, what you're able to do is magnified a million times over by trying to do something on your own, you know. So I think it was a learning thing for all of us as artists, that coming together and working together, you can create something massive and really, you know, put a dent, a good kind of dent, into the music industry. So it's fantastic that way.
That's awesome. Excellent. Demetrius, you have quite a diverse background. I mean, you talked a little bit in your intro, but so you've got Anti-Skeptic Entertainment, you've got the Mississauga Music Awards, you run Mississauga Music, which is a non-for-profit. You've got Rock the Coliseum concert that happens each year in Mississauga. You've got what am I missing? Maybe May, a band as well. Am I missing something, Dimitri? Plus, you're an instructor. You teach music. Where do you find time?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
So what would you say? I guess let's talk Mississauga Music Awards. Maybe a little bit about that more in depth. Maybe like you were doing it live, and then obviously we had to go virtual and all that. But what were your challenges? What did you see? What do you foresee for 2021?
Well, you know, for 2022, I initially was very opposed to the idea of doing something online, because I don't know about you guys, but when you think of an award show, you think about dressing up, you go somewhere, you take pictures with your friends. You know, if you win something, everybody applauds you, you go up on stage and, you know, you make a speech. And if you don't win, you kind of clap and feel upset internally. Like it's a full experience, right? And it's a live experience. It's built around that. So I wasn't very excited to try and do it online, but I think after a lot of talking to people from the board and, you know, Kory as well from the city, I think we realized that there has been a lot of talent. There has been a lot of talent that came out with great releases this year, and it has already done a lot of cool things. So it would be a shame if we didn't celebrate that and recognize these people. So we went ahead and did an online thing, all of which is, available for you to watch on MississaugaMusic.com. And I think we pulled it off. I mean, it was a lot of Zoom stuff. It was a lot of keeping things secret. And it was people coming in separately to collect the awards at the Living Arts Center, getting their pictures taken. So a lot of the ingredients for an award show were missing. But I think what we were able to pull off over September, October, and November was quite fun. And if you go and look at the awards, it's about like 40 minutes on MississaugaMusic.com. I think you'll agree that it was necessary, and I'm glad we did it. And I guess looking forward to 2021. If we have to do another version of something online, we can do it. We can do a better version of it. If it's going to be, a drive-in thing, I think we can look at that. But I mean, I'm hoping we can go back to the Living Arts Center and have an award show. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it was good. I mean, obviously we have to do what we have to do, and 2020 was one of those years. Hopefully we do go back. I agree. Being in a live, place and connecting and clapping and all that is much more interactive. And same here with a virtual side of it. But we're all faced with the same stuff, I guess now too, right? So Mauve, how about you? Like, what are your plans for 2021? Maybe what do you see? Any thoughts? Any perspectives on your end?
Well, of course, you want to put safety at the forefront with being a musician. And unfortunately, with all of the events closing and the venues closing, you have to think outside the box and start trying new ways to, adapt and still get your music out there. So I have been finding ways to still record my songs and get them produced. Regarding like making music videos, you want to make sure everyone on the team is also following guidelines and you have a limited number of people. So I'm starting to kind of brainstorm, how would that look if I were to shoot something that's inside a studio while keeping your distance? So, there's just kind of more things you have to take into consideration. It's not just, I'm going to do this and then release the song and then promote it. You have to figure out all of the details in between on how that's going to work. So I do have a few songs lined up for 2021 that I want to release, and also songs that I still have yet to record in the studio. So I would like to just be able to get those done and then be able to have the photos and the content behind it, because it's not just about having a song to release. You still need everything else behind it to back it up. So that is just the extra work that an artist has to consider nowadays. And it has been nice having a lot of virtual platforms to perform, some virtual shows to sing at. So, you gotta get your ring light and your nice camera, get your whole setup so that you have a nice area to film those. So yeah, it has been going well. You're able to find different strengths that you can work on, other opportunities, such as I have been also doing freelance songwriting and singing as well. So there's other avenues for artists to try out as well. If it's not their own work, they can collaborate with other producers or writers to make something. So that's just something that I'm looking to expand
Excellent.
more.
And what social media are you primarily on? Because you're on the different ones, but what do you feel is the best way that you connect with your fans?
I'd say all of them, because people use different platforms. So you want to make sure that you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok is kind of a rising app as well that a lot of the younger listeners are using. So if you're a musician, it's really good to use that and post covers. I'd say Instagram is the biggest one for me because you're able to show more behind the scenes, kind of presently what you're working on in the studio and show everyone your updates and what you're doing. So I'd say that's a really good tool to engage with people and kind of form that.
Terrific. Thanks so much for sharing, Mauve. Kory, City of Mississauga, obviously, you've been talking in the past about having more music venues and having venues for music within the region. Obviously, COVID's going to change or has been changing that. But kind of where else can the city, like if there's a musician watching or fan, what else can the city help with that musician with? Like what can they do? How can they reach you and so on?
Yeah, of course. Let me start by sort of the point about what musicians need, what the music community needs. That's feedback that we're currently looking for from the music community. We're running a music strategy survey that technically closed yesterday, but we won't turn away any feedback that we receive or survey input until December 31st. So to access that, you can go to mississauga.ca/music. And, we're looking for feedback, not just from the music community, but from residents as well. And we want to get a sense of what people think that the city can provide them or what they need from a city to grow in their particular area of the music sector. So whether it's a music venue and you're for support around perhaps an extension of the noise bylaw times, or you're an artist and you think that maybe more professional development opportunities is something that the city can offer. We really want that feedback now so we can incorporate it into the actions and the recommendations in that music strategy. So I mentioned the survey technically closed yesterday, but we'll extend it a little bit longer. And we're looking to sort of bring that strategy forward to council in the second quarter of 2021. So it'll align really nicely with the time I hope that we'll be starting to really reboot the music community and scene and start to host more live music events again. One thing that just was adopted by council on December 9th was a creative industries recovery strategy. And that includes some initiatives for film, TV, and music. And it was really separated into 3 phases. We started with the mitigate phase, where we were looking at what actions we can take to help mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on the music sector, which we know is astronomical. The whole sector, save for some really innovative things that people are doing, but especially live music is pretty much put on hold right now until we can safely resume that again. But in terms of sort of mitigating the impacts, a couple of things that we did was to make sure that all the opportunities that we did offer musicians, paid performance opportunities, were still there. So we moved our summer concert series that usually happens in Port Credit and Streetsville to a film format this year that we did in Meadowvale Theatre. A lot of our mitigating was about connecting musicians and music businesses in the local community to resources from other levels of government that were able to offer that more robust support, like the CERB from the federal government, the rent relief program, the lockdown support that was announced not too long ago that brings the rent relief up to 90% for businesses affected by lockdown orders. Like resources like Unison Fund as well, like people in the music community might not be aware of, but offer such critical support. And one thing I'll add on Unison that Sarah maybe hadn't mentioned, that is if you have the capacity to donate to Unison, I mean, they make such an incredible impact for the music community. So, if you're in a position to donate, please consider that as well. We also maintained all of our culture grant funding to the not-for-profit and nonprofit groups that receive fundings, whether for festivals or events or operating funding through the city. So when the pandemic hit, we were able to maintain that funding, whether those groups needed to pivot their event or alter it or maybe postpone to a later year, so they didn't, to try to mitigate that impact. The next phase of that recovery plan was the reboot phase. And one of the programs we offered in that reboot phase was called Starter Company Plus for Music. It was a business skills training and mentorship program for music businesses and musicians with a grant component as well, up to $2,000 for participants in that program. So that would allow musicians, while they're perhaps not able to perform as much live, to hone their business skills and receive that investment into their business as well. And then within that reboot phase, there was an initiative to make live music on patios a little bit easier to do from a bylaw perspective during the summer months, and as long as people were willing to and able to have their patios open. And we also are planning to, when we are able to start hosting live music events again, expand the offerings of free live music events and paid performance opportunities for musicians, whether it's offering those directly or working with partners in the music sector like promoters to make more of those happen. And then the final phase of that economic recovery plan for the creative industries was the grow phase. And that's where our music strategy fits in. So Mississauga.ca/music for anyone still would like to provide input in that survey. And looking in the grow phase on how we might bring youth into music more too. So whether it's through improving or enhancing our registered programs that we offer through the city to provide equitable access to music training for youth, or things like an instrument lending library within our library system to, again, allow everyone in the city that sort of musical opportunity, whether they pursue it as a career or as a lifelong love as well.
That's great. Wow, a lot of information there. Sarah, Kory mentioned about Unison and Sarah Hagerman, Industry and Events Manager at Unison Benevolent Fund. Maybe a couple of things you can mention about as well, Sarah. First of all, how can someone make a donation? And secondly, how does that money get figured out in terms of who gets access to it? Is there a voting? Is there a proposal, a submission, musicians? How does that process work?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, and to kind of go off what Kory was saying and what assistance is out there for artists, Unison is not, we're not backed by the government, I guess you can say. We're funded privately. So yeah, if anyone is able to donate, what you can do is go on the unisonfund.ca website, and you can find a couple different ways to donate there. Right now we have a GoFundMe campaign still open, and it's a really, really excellent way to donate through our GoFundMe, because each donation is being triple matched dollar for dollar currently by the Slate family and by the Steinmetz family in the music community. So even if you can give a little, it's a really great opportunity to have your donation matched. But you can also text the word Unison to 45678 and follow the prompts on there, and you can donate $10, $20, $25. So yeah, really Unison is completely funded by private donations. So any support is so critical during this time, because Unison as a perspective has seen a over 5,000% increase in people requiring our services. So I guess in spite of all the amazing donations that have been coming in, Unison's now currently entering a crisis situation as an organization. And that's to be completely transparent and honest, because the amount of people who require assistance is still growing, and as people are learning about the services, which is excellent. So any little bit really goes a long way. Even if you can't donate, if you want to just find us on social media at Unison Fund. Oh, 1 second, sorry. Anyways, and if you can find us on social media, then even just a share to your family, a share to your friends, a lover of music really goes a long way. And in that, how you can require the services from Unison is pretty simple. So if you're a musician or music maker who's been contributing to the music industry for about 2 years consecutively, it's been primarily your 55% of your career, then that gives you eligibility right away. All you have to do is go on our website and hit register, and that just puts you in our database. And from there, you can access our services. So you can call the hotline and get connected to immediate counseling. Or if you want to access financial assistance, you can email assistance@unisonfund.ca. And from there, you will receive an application. And the application for financial assistance is very simple. We really just want to know what you contribute to the music industry, a little bit on your crisis situation, which for most people, obviously it's COVID, so we understand that. And just like a little bit of background on your career. What we want to know is if you contribute to the music industry and you're in a crisis situation, we want to help you. We don't want a crisis to be a career ender for folks in the music industry. We really just want to provide those basic necessities like a check so you can pay the rent, get food on the table, get help for your family too. These funds and the services are also for your immediate family members. So yeah, I hope that helps people understand just the simplicity on how to access Unison services. It's free, it's totally confidential. We will never ever ask for money back or for registration fees or anything like that. So like I said, if you can donate, it is critical. We appreciate it so much. You can always reach out to me and find my contact info on the website as well. And if you have questions or you want to learn how to get involved, I'm more than happy just to chat with you and see how things are going in your world and how we can support the music community together. So yeah, reach out if anyone ever wants to have that conversation as well.
Excellent. And Sarah, is it for Canada only? Is it worldwide? Are there similar organizations outside of Canada?
Yeah, so this is Canada's leading charity for music. There is other organizations, for example, in the United States, there's some organizations that are very similar in the UK as well. And I believe, I don't know what the one in the UK is called. It's slipping my mind currently, but there is similar organizations that do exactly what Unison does. And in the United States, it's a much larger organization. So Unison plans to kind of grow into that spectrum as well and have that size and capacity one day. We're very small right now, but there is help there in other places. All you have to do is you can go on the Unison website and find those resources as well. So even if you're not Canadian, you're not a Canadian music maker or professional, then you can still find hopefully some resources on our website and learn more about how to tap into those resources as well. That's similar to Unison.
Excellent. Wow, what a great summary. Okay, so we only have maybe a couple minutes left here. Maybe we can go around real quick and anything you want to plug, anything I haven't mentioned earlier. So maybe we can just go around real quick. Suzi, anything you want to plug or links, social media, anything, events?
Again, still some stuff up in the air. New music coming in 2021. I think, I work with a producer in Los Angeles. Luckily, although the borders are closed for land travel, you can fly out. So I've been able to do that. So I went and recorded, and I'm planning to go again in February. And I just need an excuse to be in LA. But, I do want to say a collective to everybody. Have a happy New Year, wonderful Christmas season. And I'm really feeling good about 2021. I think it's going to be awesome because, this whole year, everybody's been kind of hibernating and working. Like I can say personally, but I've also spoken to other people. I've been writing a lot. I learned how to play guitar a little. And, I know there's going to be like a renaissance of music and art and everything else just coming out in 2021. So, no matter where this is going, it's going in a positive direction. It's going to be great.
Yeah, lots of cool videos, Suzi, great songs, great content. Visit the website, SUZIKORY.com.
Yeah.
Right. So make sure to visit that. Demetrius, anything you want to plug? Anything that somebody mentioned that you wanted to add on to or anything? Oh, he's muted. You're muted, Demetrius. Yeah. There you go.
I was just saying, just my 3 ventures, I guess. If you're curious about music marketing and radio promotion, it's antiskepticentertainment.com. And if you're curious about the Mississauga music scene and what we've been doing, MississaugaMusic.com. And if you want to hear my kind of okay band, maybemay.com. I'll put it all in the chat. And yeah, that's about it.
It's a good rocking band, eh?
We're trying.
It's pretty good. It's good rocking. So you want to check out Demetrius's band and connect with him. Demetrius is one of the nicest guys I've met since I've been doing this. and Demetrius was involved in pretty much every music expo that we've been doing since 2017, 16, 17. So thanks for all your support, Demetrius, as well. It's been great staying connected with you. And Mauve, anything you want to add? Somebody said something. You want to promote something?
Yeah, it was wonderful to learn from you all today and see the great projects that are happening, supporting music right now. And if you want to connect with me, with anyone watching, you can go to my website, mauve-music.com. You can check out my songs on there, as well as Instagram is mauve.music. Would be great to connect with you, and on Facebook and Twitter as well. So keep an eye out for new music in 2021, and I'll have all of my announcements on those social media accounts.
Thanks a lot, Mauve.
Yeah,
Thanks again for all the support this year with the Music Expo. It's been great being connected with you. And Kory, Poole, Music Development Coordinator at the City of Mississauga. Any other thoughts, comments, anything to add to anything, promo?
Other than that music strategy survey at Mississauga.ca, just music, I want to give a shout out to all the work that people are doing to support their communities and support music businesses. Demetrius didn't mention the awesome initiative that Maybe May had. They released a song called Through Your Eyes, which benefited the Mississauga Food Bank, raising funds with an all-star cast of some of Mississauga's most talented musicians. It was amazing. Unison Fund, outstanding work. I can't really speak to enough to the importance of their work. There's my little 5-year-old behind me. And then, people like the Canadian Live Music Association, who are doing incredibly impactful work, advocating to all different levels of government on the supports that the music sector needs. So props to them as well. And if you're a music venue or a festival and you're looking for the types of supports that are out there, the Canadian Live Music Association is a great resource. And if you need to reach me, if anyone would like to reach out, my email is kory.poole@mississauga.ca. And thank you, Marc, for having me and all of us today and hosting this panel.
Oh, thank you, Kory, and great community outreach that you're doing, and well done. And I look forward to continuing doing stuff with you in 2021. And Sarah, to wrap things up from Unison, any other upcoming events or anything else you want to add? Anything else somebody said that you wanted to tag on to?
So I guess just very quickly, just speaking of the Canadian Live Music Association, I wrote down this stat that I really want to share, and it's just to put into perspective how much help the music community needs, but also just a side note that like the support coming and the initiatives coming from everyone in the community is so overwhelmingly inspiring. I get emotional about it, honestly, but to put it into perspective, the live music industry in Canada accounts for 72,000 jobs, not including performers, and generates 3.5 billion in economic activity. And that's for a stat from the Canadian Live Music Association. So like I said, if anyone wants to just do your part, listen to me. If you're a music fan, listen to music, support. And for music makers, just keep doing what you're doing and reach out if you need help. Reach out to the amazing resources that we talked about today, and that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's great. Wonderful, wonderful organization, and make sure to connect with Sarah or donate as well today. Great to support the music industry for sure. So my name is Marc Belaiche, president of the Canadian Music Expo. I want to thank you all for being on here. Great advice, great suggestions, great music being offered. It's interesting to see the changes that are going to take place. For those of you watching, there's a lot of great music that's still happening over the next 2 hours. Elisa, Austin, Sarah, Girl Power. We've got a whole of Allures are on soon. Lots of great music to come. We are on here for another 1 hour and 49 minutes. So feel free to navigate through. There's a networking area. There's the expo area. There's other sessions going on, and support Canadian music as much as possible. So thanks very much to all of you for being on the panel, and I wish you all luck. And as always, if there's anything I can help you out with, don't hesitate to ask. Wish you all for the best for the holidays and for 2021 as well. Thanks very much.
You too. Happy holidays.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Everyone.
Take care, guys.